We just
Twitter.gov?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know that I'd want to use that website.
I'm sorry, don't you mean Twitter.Musk?
Let's
Twitter.Musk,
go. Let's go. I'm excited about that.
You're the only one who's
I'm excited
about
about it. Listen, I'm thinking about buying some stock, but I don't know. I got to talk to some people that know a little bit more about money than I do. It seems like a safe bet, but
can I ask you a question actually on Musk?
Please.
On Musk. So I understand why people are excited about Musk, and I really genuinely hope that if that's the way forward, it's not a done deal yet, but if he owns it, I really hope that some of these issues go away from Twitter and maybe that other ones follow.
Yeah.
With that being said, Elon Musk lives within the United States, and he owns companies, and he has a lot to lose. And so fundamentally, he is a person who could probably be threatened, right? He has contracts with the government, right? Yeah. The government there. I remember there was some talk about when he smoked marijuana on Joe Rogan's show, like, oh, if he's consuming cannabis, that actually makes him ineligible for government contracts. Did he just lose everything by smoking a joint?
Yes, like SpaceX. It was some Air Force generals that were kind of pissed off about this, and his stock plummeted and whatnot. So yes, I'm aware.
Right. So if there was a controversial story, so let's say the Hunter Biden thing, for example, right? Jack Dorsey has taken back. Jack Dorsey has apologized. Basically, he said they made the wrong decision, suspending the New York Post and de-escalating reporting about the Hunter Biden laptop at the time. And I think that Jack Dorsey saying that is probably even more validated in the current time period, where now even the Washington Post and the New York Times are kind of posting these like apology stories about how we were wrong and we should have, let that be reported on. It shouldn't have been a verboten subject. If Elon Musk was the owner of Twitter and Joe Biden is the president, what if he said, I'll take away your contracts, or I'll arrest you, right? Or like whatever. When you have just one person, and then that person has so much to lose, are you at all worried that Elon Musk could be sort of he talks a big game, but what if he's threatened by the state? Do you feel confidently that he'd be able to stand up strong on that?
Number one, I've never thought about it that way, so I appreciate that question. I think that it's not just going to be him. He's going to have a board of directors, right? And I think that the first thing he's going to set to do is separate himself from this thing. I think that he wants to own it and then maybe control it and institute some of the policies that he deems are fundamentally necessary, which is like as much freedom as humanly possible, right? And then outside of that, he might step away. And then I don't know if his plan is to make a shit ton of money and sell it. I don't know. From my understanding, it's going to be taken. It's going to be a private company. I think it's very interesting what you say, especially with the idea that he has a lot of lucrative government contracts, especially with SpaceX. I also think that he's a leader in a lot of those technologies because he was able to beat out, was it Blue Origin or whatever?
Blue Origin.
Blue Origin, yeah.
Blue Origin.
The Bezos company.
The space penis, yeah.
Yeah. I think that we are in the Twitterverse, right? Which I'm not really that active on. I think we're in good hands. Like if you look at everything he's done and everything he's been able to accomplish, I think that he's probably the best person for it. I think his first move is probably to bring Dorsey back. Dorsey's kind of been ostracized and stepped away from Twitter, and I think maybe he has him run it. I don't know. You bring up a good point. I would say that for the most part, I don't think that those attack vectors that you speak of, I think that he's probably like 2 steps ahead of him. I don't know though. Good point. John, go ahead.
So just to add to just focusing on Elon, I don't like Elon Musk, but we'll set that aside. Just on this issue, to echo what Ford was saying, my issue, what weirds me out about it is that you have a situation where you have essentially an oligarch controlling what has become the public square. Twitter is really one of the few, if not one of the only, social media platforms that is live, that you can, like, it is the best source of finding news or of finding information. If you are not literally there happening, is watching people live tweeting about it and seeing all this stuff coming through. And having that kind of powerful platform threatened by someone who has a history of having thin skin and retaliating in like ways that are not possible for the average person against journalists, critics, etc., that scares me. Just because he's kind of an erratic guy.
But time out. Can you please cite some examples of him attacking?
Yeah, I'll put in the show notes, but I know off the top of my head, I know that there was a former Tesla employee who started a YouTube channel that after he had complained internally about safety issues, like the whole thing with the Teslas just spontaneously combusting, had posted critical reviews of the Tesla cars on YouTube while maintaining that there was no information that was trade secrets or anything. It was all publicly available information. Was fired by Tesla. There was an instance where there was a journalist who was writing. It was either a critique of Musk personally or of Tesla as a company. Was critical of them and actually had a pre-order for a Tesla car. Elon Musk personally went and canceled that pre-order without his knowledge, violating the contract that he signed while pre-ordering a car from his company. Those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head, but there's at least a few more that he floats that line between eccentric genius and eccentric villain. That is just it freaks me out that somebody so, for lack of a better word, unstable or unpredictable has so much power to control something so vital.
I don't know if it's fair that you can call him like unstable and unpredictable. Like he's
very unpredictable.
And also, time out real quick. What's the point of having fuck you money if you never get to say fuck you?
I mean, true,
that is essentially what he did. He just said, "You know what? I'm the richest man on the planet, or one of two. Technically,
depends
probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
There's definitely some
in
Saudi
reality, not. It's all value.
Wealthy.
It's all valuation. He has almost all of his assets are all just hypothetical.
I'm also, one of my nicknames is the Agent of Chaos, so I like it. I like it. I want to see what happens. I think that if anything, it's going to get better. I really do.
I mean, in terms though, like Ford was saying, traditionally, free speech is an issue that falls on the left of center, and also it's generally the state that's trespassing against people. We're in a system now that no one could account for in previous history, that corporations are essentially the state, especially when they are that big. When you have Twitter that's arguably bigger and more important now than, say, Ma Bell was 100 years ago, or you have YouTube and Google and Facebook that control how much, I mean, you would know, Ford, how much of your stuff do you get through Facebook links and through just people sharing stories? It's a massive vector that it's too dangerous to have that controlled by unaccountable singular parties. It's something that needs to be like regulated as a platform and as not as a, what do they fight because they don't want to be regulated as a platform. They want
versus
to be
publisher,
a publisher.
Which
yes,
is mostly not a meaningful distinction in the context of Section 230. It's just who wrote the thing, right? All you're a platform when somebody else wrote the thing that's on it, and you're a publisher when when Twitter tweets as Twitter, they're accountable to that. When I tweet, Twitter can't be sued for what I tweeted.
Yeah. And so it's important to have these platforms be open, because you'll run into a circumstance where, instead of you have, the government trying to shut down a newspaper, you have just a social media account, like everything that's happened to you on YouTube. They don't like it, whether it's personal or it's just an algorithm. It's too volatile.
But that's what Musk is trying to change. I mean, don't you think it's kind of fucking ridiculous that Putin's on Twitter and Trump's not?
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
I do.
we got to put him
but
back on.
I don't think anything changes if you put Trump back on, except you just get more entertainment.
It did, but I'm saying they shouldn't have. I don't think they should have kicked him off. Like I think that
Right.
Elon having that. I think that dumb shit like that is going to stop. I think it's going to get a lot better. I mean, this is a man that has seen that we are storing carbon in our oceans and has made EV vehicles sexy and people want to buy them. This is a man that's trying to get us to Mars.
He has no legitimate solution to actually solve those problems. He's just trying to make money off the fact that you can make an electric car that's going to be powered by coal-powered electricity.
You have to
keep making.
That's not
to mention lithium mining is horrible for the environment.
I understand all of that, but we got to fucking do something, John. We got to do.
Right.
Sorry, this. By the way, Ford. This is a long-standing disagreement because I'm Team Elon and he is like anti for whatever reason. You're wrong, but
lots of reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of seems like it goes with your philosophy that you were saying that you'd like to be a dictator who then is a libertarian dictator or something. Like,
like Pinochet. Are you going to try to say Pinochet was a libertarian?
No. I would not say that Pinochet was libertarian. No. No, but like Elon is taking a huge amount of power, and it sounds like you, Rick, are comfortable with that because you believe that he will use it benevolently, that he actually will defend speech the way. So this is why I'm saying, assuming he buys it, I hope that that's true.
Me too.
Same.
But I'm not sure that I'm just going to intrinsically trust any billionaire, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it could have just as easily, like, you know, if Bill Gates bought Twitter, I think that you'd be panicking.
Yeah, no, I'd be freaking the fuck out.
You'd be like, that's just right.
No one,
that's
everybody's
just
panicked
his thing.
about.
He has the FU money, right?
Everybody's panicked about Elon Musk buying Twitter, but they're not panicked about the fact that the single largest private landowner in the country that owns the most farmland in the U.S. is Bill Gates.
I know, dude. We're not going
to both of those consolidations of power are bad, and like the ideas of like the whole Silicon Valley disrupt kind of ethos is great for business, but in reality and for society, it's not, you know?
If Jeff Bezos was the one buying Twitter, he would have to ban guillotine as a search from Amazon.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I mean, it sounds like Elon's the one billionaire who's going after this and then saying, you know, that he's going to lead it by free speech. But it's a lot of power to be in one hand, because if he changed his opinion, he very well could turn it the exact opposite way. Yeah, so so the difference between, you know, the perspectives, it sounds like here on this is, do you trust that one person, and can you trust any one person?
That's
I don't
true.
have a great answer to that.
I don't have a great answer for that. I don't know him. We got to get him on the podcast. I guess we're gonna have to keep cranking that out.
Just call Grimes and see if she can get him.
We will see what happens. We will. I feel personally, it's not my life. I'm not on Twitter that much. I go there if something big happens. I think it's a good thing. But time will tell. And you know what, Ford, we're going to have you back on after. We'll have to do a follow up on this. But